Hi, hi, Brother DeBry. This is my individual final project presentation. Um, so the first item that we'll cover is the static class variable and static class non-static class variable instance variable. What is the difference between the two? So the differences between the two is that the static variable um, only has one copy that is shared by all different objects and classes. And the non-static variable is when every object has its own own personal copy of an instance of that variable. So moving on, so here's an example of a static class variable. You can see this is the part where it gets created, and this is where it gets called. This comes from the game that we made. We made a create animal list to use this static variable. The next one is a non-static class variable example. This one you can see here. Here's the example of how it's created, and this is an example of it being called. And so moving on, we have arrays. So we have just regular arrays, array lists, and enums. So the differences between them is an array is it's a fixed length, and its values its values can change, but the length can't once it's created. The array list is more dynamic. It's both its values and list size can change. And the enum is once it's created, it's constant, and the size and values won't change. And so down here we have an example of an array list that was used in one of the projects. This is one of the ones I did. This is an array list for the tools. And so we have here where the array list is created with the variable tools. So it creates a new array list, giving it that name, that variable name of tools. And down here is the list that gets added into it. Those four tools are added in. With the array list, you'll have the name and the number variable that goes in with each item. And then down here, it just sets the array list tool in the game class and saves it there. So moving on, we have the for statement. So this one is related to that list tool that I just showed that I created for one of my assignments. So this pulls in the array list, and it has a for loop that goes through an iteration of each item using the variable tools, and it prints out the name, and then it does a tab right here, and then it prints out the number for each of those, and it does it in each line for each item that's in the array list. Next, we have the errors. So this one is the same as or related to the tools list that I created. So this is an error check or a catch. It tries here to take that tools list and save it to a file called tools.txt. And if that's successful, then everything's fine. It saves that information there, and it saves that list to that file. If it's not fine, it will catch it, if it has an error, it will catch it down here, and it will display this message that there's a file error. So moving forward, we have the character stream class versus the byte stream class, and the difference in when to use each. So the character stream class the character stream is when the program needs to look at whole characters, like in a text file. They're usually 8-bit characters, so it'd be like numbers and letters when it needs to define and understand what those are in a data file or in a file in general. To use a byte stream, this one is a byte stream is when it looks at just the raw data, byte by byte. It doesn't look at the whole characters, and this is helpful when processing large data sets. All right, so moving forward, this is an example of how to write data to an external file. So we have the save game method, and so this asks the user to enter the file name that they want it to be called. The user enters that file name. It's saved here in a variable called file path. The file output stream gets this variable, and it takes in the variable from the input from the keyboard. The object output stream has this variable, and it takes in the previous variable to check to make sure that it can that can save that information. And this is part of the try section. And then the output write object. This then takes the data. So we're taking the data from the game, and we're saving it into the file name that the user input. And if there is an error, the catch down here will get that error, and it will display to the screen saying that there was a problem saving your game file. Please try again. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that. The next item is to show the fully implemented game. So here's our game that our team worked on. The game isn't 100% complete. There were other items that needed to be done, but we only had 3 people in the team, and I think there were 7 items that needed to be completed. We each did 1, so I think there's 4 other items to make it a fully functional game. But so as we see here, down here is the game or the main menu, and so we can select start a new game. And we'll ask for me to put a name in, so I'll just put my name in there. And then this is the game menu. So we have the view map, view print a list, view/print a list, move to a new location, manage crops, return the main menu. So the one thing that I worked on for my individual project was to view the map. And so we can display that here, and it comes up at the top here. And so I was able to make the map display. It originally just had the same thing in every column. But I took some extra time, and I added some logic in there in a for loop to go through and iterate and randomize each of the selections here. So every time when you play the game, you'll get a new map. But when you're in the game, the map is still the same because it saves it to the game data. And so as you can see, here's the map, and here it is. It's the same. So you have the cities here: river, forest, and river on line 0. And same here: city, river, forest. river. But then if you exit the game, so we'll just quit the game, and then we will start a new one. So we'll start a new game, enter my name. If we view the map again, we'll actually have a different map now. So every time there's a new game, it will be a new map. And here's the key down here that's displayed. And then within the game menu, we have the list menu, and you can see the list of the animals. We put the option in here to either print it or view the list, so I'll just view the list. And it'll show the different animals up here. And it does that for each of those lists. So if we go back out, we can actually return to the main menu. And this is, we can go through and we can save the game. And it'll ask me the file name to put it in. Let's do, it's file.txt. And it goes through, and then it saves it in that file. And then we can just quit the game. So we didn't get a chance to add the movement in the game, but we have the crop management where you can buy and sell crops and so forth. So, anyways, that's my presentation, and I actually really started to enjoy this class the past few weeks, especially working in teams. At first, I had a hard time in it with it initially, but towards the end, I really looked forward to it every week. So, I'm grateful for that experience and getting to know my teammates and learning to work with them. So anyways, that's it, and thank you.